Hey guys, in this video I'm checking out a very small and inexpensive gimbal from Hohem. They sent me this, which is the iSteady Pro 2. Looks like a very cool action camera gimbal. I'm going to test this out on my DJI Osmo Action. Let's see how it comes packaged. Here is the box that it comes in. You could see that it was crushed during shipment. Hohem branded, form fitted for everything that's inside, and a zipper. User guide. So you get a couple of cables here to connect to your camera, a little mini tripod, and the gimbal itself, which is tiny. Look at that. So that is it. Very simple packaging. Let me set up my Osmo Action with this thing and then cut over. So here is the gimbal with my DJI Osmo Action mounted on top of it. It's not balanced here, but there are actually no adjustments on this gimbal, so you kind of just have to use it the way that it is. I know that with the GoPro 7, it seems to balance a little bit better because that's a lighter camera, but this works decently well. To turn this gimbal on, you press and hold the power button here. Overall, the controls on this gimbal are very simple and straightforward. You have kind of a toggle where you can move the camera up, down, left, and right. Horizon adjustment where you can adjust it, kind of tilt. You have a mode button. It actually indicates here how many presses you have to push to get into each mode. Switching modes is just a matter of pressing this button once, twice, 3 times, or 4 times. The last button is the power and the record button if you plug this into your action camera. So very simple. There is a little trigger button on the front, which is nice for fast action. That's how it's set up. Or you could hit it twice to reset the gimbal. That is pretty much all the controls in a nutshell. This gimbal is also splash proof, so that means you can take it around water. I wouldn't suggest submerging it, but if it gets rained on, for example, you should be all right. The motors on this gimbal are pretty quiet. You do hear a slight noise. I don't know if my microphone will even pick it up. Probably not. However, if you do use the onboard microphone with your action camera, it will probably pick up a little bit of a hum. And if you have the wind noise reduction setting turned on, you won't hear a thing. So this gimbal is very compact, and it's also very lightweight because it's all plastic. It has a nice grip around the back. In fact, the grip overall holding this in one hand is very good. You don't really have room for a two-hand grip, but if you use the small tripod that's included, you could almost get a second grip on there. Now, when I got this gimbal, my intention was to see how well it performed. What a lot of reviewers on YouTube do is they stick their GoPro 7 or their Osmo Action on this gimbal. They leave the optical image stabilization on it, so built-in rock steady or the stabilization system built into the GoPro. They go out, shoot some samples, bring it back, put it all together, and the footage looks amazing. Now, the problem with that is you don't really know how much of the work is being done by the gimbal versus how much is being done internally by these action cameras because they are so good at stabilizing footage. What this Osmo Action does is it crops in quite a bit on its sensor, and it uses that space to kind of move the image around to make sure that even if you're shaking the camera like crazy, the resulting footage is very smooth. And when I did my review of this action camera, I talked about how just using it handheld, you're getting results that are as smooth as using a gimbal. So in my opinion, the fairest way to review a gimbal such as this one is to demonstrate its abilities without having any stabilization enabled with your action camera, because then you can see just how much stabilization is being provided mechanically by this gimbal. So let's take a look at the sample videos right now. So that is it for these sample videos, and I have to be honest, when I first reviewed that footage, I was a bit disappointed with the overall shakiness of a lot of those clips. And so I started reading more about this gimbal, and I came quickly to the realization that I had to adjust my expectations a little bit. I cannot expect a tiny gimbal like this, an inexpensive one, mind you, to perform just like an A6400 would on something like the Crane 3 Lab that I recently reviewed. The way that this gimbal is marketed is really an accessory to the excellent optical stabilization that's built into modern action cameras. And when you use these two tools in conjunction with one another, the results are excellent. You get very nice and smooth footage because the direction and the overall horizon control is being done by this little gimbal, whereas the camera itself is adjusting for the small shakes. Now, when I first got this gimbal, my intention really was to be able to use my DJI Osmo Action at the widest available setting with no crop, because I would turn off the optical stabilization, and so I'd get a super wide shot, and I assumed it would be buttery smooth, but it just isn't. And it's hard to keep a setup like this being so light and so small stable, especially with one hand. So long story short, if you do end up buying one of these small gimbals for your action camera, just leave the built-in stabilization on. Beyond that, I did enjoy using this gimbal. Very compact and light. It does come with a carry case that I didn't use because it's so light, I just threw it in my bag. In fact, you could put it into your back pocket and it's not too heavy even with the camera mounted on it. Controlling it was simple, getting through the modes was easy. I didn't end up using any of these extra charging ports. I know that you can charge your action camera from this gimbal if you wanted to. Speaking of battery life, it is excellent. It's rated for about 12 hours. I charged it once and it's still at, I don't know, 50%, 75%. There is a battery indicator on the side that does glow in green. So that was very good. As far as I know, the battery is not removable. It's just built in. I'm unable to find a place to open it or unlock it. With this gimbal, you can also download an app to your phone and you can make a whole bunch of adjustments and control it and do kind of time lapses. But the important part is you can adjust the speed of each axis, which is nice, especially for the pan, because out of the box, a lot of gimbals just pan a little too quickly for my liking. You're getting a compact package, well built, it's all plastic, but it's splash proof. You get camera charging, nice easy controls, the app that goes along with it, and all for a price that is pretty dang affordable. It's coming in at around $80 right now, so definitely a bargain out there in the world of compact gimbals. If you do have an action camera and you are looking for a good gimbal, this is definitely one to consider. I would just not do what I did and turn off the optical stabilization on your action camera. Used both of these stabilization systems together and the result will be very impressive. So that is it for my review. As always, I will post a link down below for more information about this gimbal, and if you'd like to purchase it, you can do so below. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are with these sorts of gimbals. Can they ultimately make a gimbal this compact that is super duper stable so that you don't even need optical stabilization? Curious what your thoughts are with that. As always, thank you guys for all of your comments and support. Stay tuned for more and have a nice day. Bye-bye.